Last Monday, we went and saw Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Or is it? And I honestly came away with quite a few thoughts from the movie. One, I thought it was well done. I thought it was a good movie, good Mission Impossible movie, hit all the beats. I think people who have seen it, who know the franchise, love it. And they kind of are setting this up. Oh, is this the last movie kind of thing? We'll see about that. I'll talk about that at the end. But here's my thesis. Here's kind of my thought coming out of this movie. If you know your audience and you know what they want, so in this example, Mission Impossible, they want a Mission Impossible movie. They want to see masks or disguises. They want to see Tom Cruise running. They want to see actual stunts, not just CGI stunts. If you know what your audience wants and you deliver that, they're going to reward you. As soon as you start to subvert your own the expectations of your audience in your own story, that's when your whole story or franchise starts to break apart. We've seen some of this recently in different franchises. So that being said, I thought the Mission Impossible movie was great. And I also had some things that challenged the thesis, but also kind of support it by challenging it. Here's the challenge to the thesis. The writers, when writing this movie, I think, kind of understood that they had built up this cachet of goodwill with their audience, and were kind of like, this is going to be the last movie probably. Let's just kind of go all out. And so they did things that were like, wait, what are you doing? This is so random to me. Mission Impossible is known for doing very realistic stunts is the only word that I can think of. Tom Cruise is actually doing most of the things that you see him doing. And I know watching some of the behind the scenes, he was actually in an airplane, jumping out of a helicopter, actually skydiving, actually underwater. All of these things, all of these scenarios that you see him in, he's actually doing. But I also feel like watching some of the earlier ones that there was actually some sense of realism, if that's a good word to use. Basically, the mission is impossible, but Tom Cruise, or Ethan in the movie or in the story, he overcomes these impossible challenges through just sheer grit and determination and a lot of being clever. But I felt like this movie missed that in so many ways, where it was just kind of like, this is the last movie, we're just going to kind of magic a lot of this stuff, where he had to be at a specific time and a specific place, and if anything was just slightly off, the whole thing fell apart. But it never did. Spoilers. He had to be at this one particular place and he had to do this certain thing. So, okay, there's going to be a spoiler, so I might as well just get into it. The submarine scene. Awesome. When that door opens and you just see that Russian submarine just right on their butts, it's like, this is amazing. This is what I came to the movies to see, even though I know this is 100% fake. Such a cool scene. So he jumps out. The whole premise leading up to this is we have a special suit. It's a one of a kind. You can use it to get down to the submarine and recover this artifact that you're trying to get. And you'll make it back up to the surface, if you're lucky. That's the premise. And so we're like, okay, the stakes are set. Here's what the movie has determined, the writers have determined are the stakes for this scene. So he goes and he does it. He gets down there. Tons of things are going wrong. And he's adapting and overcoming. And it kind of gets to this point where he's essentially out of options. And he's being dragged to the bottom of the ocean. And the decision is made, I guess, that he will take off his scuba suit, this one-of-a-kind scuba suit that was the only thing that was going to protect him from just completely dying. He decides to take it off and just swim to the surface. That's what I'm saying. It's like he actually, in previous movies, he actually broke his leg doing a stunt, or he actually, hung onto the side of an airplane while it was flying. Like, that's not unreasonable to expect. It's not unreasonable for him to make that leap. But to swim from the bottom of the ocean to the surface, oh, and it's the Arctic, I'm just not buying it. And then he gets out and he's perfectly fine, No frostbite, no hypothermia, nothing. I don't know. Okay, maybe I'm picking too many bones, but I felt like there were multiple instances of things like this that happen. And so I guess what I'm trying to get at is they knew that they could kind of push the limits, get a little, fast and furious on it. And so they did. And if this is the last movie, then I think everybody's can forgive them and we can all just move on and be like, that was fun. So I guess all that to say, Mission Impossible, even though the scenarios are supposed to be impossible, the characters are supposed to get out of it with, a little bit of magic technology, but also a lot of wit and a lot of determination. And it just felt like in this movie, too much was left to chance and too much happened that was completely left up to chance, even though it would be almost entirely impossible for that many dominoes to fall in a row. So I don't know. That was part of it. The other thing is Ethan as a character, as a hero, I struggle with because it's just he's always perfect. He makes mistakes and a lot of bad things happen, but not in the sense of a hero who has to actually become more of a hero or become a better person through their hero's journey, like you would expect, where they're making these mistakes because they're not the hero that they're actually supposed to be. But it felt like with him, and maybe that's the whole hero's journey of the entire series, and this is kind of wrapping it up where he's just on his A game, but it felt like maybe he was a little too perfect, and I feel like that makes a bad hero. So anyways, they kind of left it, is this the last movie in the franchise? And they were kind of like, meh, maybe. And it's like, what? Like, why didn't you commit to that? I'm not necessarily opposed to them being like, yeah, maybe we'll make another one. If they know their audience and their audience is like, yeah, we'll take another movie, then it's like, yeah, go for it. You know what? Why not print off another couple $100 million? I don't know. Anyways, that's a long rant, but I had all these thoughts in my head as I was watching the movie, and I was like, you know what? Let's throw these out there. So that's where it is. I enjoyed it and I recommend it. Until next time.